In this week's Space Startup News, the latest information on the ICER Aerospace launch. Second, we have updates from Relativity Space. Third, we cover orbital carriers from Gravitics. And lastly, Rocket Lab qualifies for Space Force launches that could be worth over $5 billion. Okay, let's get started. ICER Aerospace launching over the weekend, maybe. The weather at ICER Aerospace's launch site in Norway continues to delay the maiden flight of their Spectrum vehicle. The earliest flight is not expected before the weekend, but given the current weather conditions, I wouldn't hold my breath. In good news though, ICER Aerospace has heard the comments on social media for a live stream of the launch. They've partnered with NASA Spaceflight and will be live streaming the event. The link to live stream is in the video description. I'll be publishing a video after the launch with all the details and speculation on what happens next. Hopefully that will be next week, but it depends when ICER manages to get their vehicle off the pad. Okay, on to our second story this week. Relativity Space updates. Launch Complex 16 build update. The first propellant tanks have been installed. Once completed, the propellant tank will store over 1 million gallons of liquid natural gas and liquid oxygen for Terran R. In a social media post, they go on to say that the flame trench and pad center excavation is complete. Tank farm foundations are complete, including early installs of critical tank hardware. Foundation work for the hangar, which will integrate the vehicle, is finishing up. Launch mount fabrication is underway. Early landing ship design is underway. And launch automation and operations planning are underway. From vehicle integration and infrastructure engineering to fluid systems and offshore operations, Relativity's team combines expertise from various industries to ensure successful execution of the Terran R integration, launch and reuse lifecycle. Okay, next up, a space station module builder gets an award to demonstrate a new type of orbital vehicle. Gravitics secures $60 million Space Force funding to launch revolutionary orbital carriers. Gravitics, a company specializing in space station modules, has won a contract from the US Space Force worth up to $60 million to develop and launch an orbital carrier. The orbital carrier will serve as a pre-positioned platform in space, housing multiple maneuverable satellites or vehicles. This design enables rapid response to evolving threats or scenarios, offering the US Space Force unmatched flexibility and speed in orbital operations. Much like the US Navy relies on aircraft carriers, this space-based equivalent could transform military capabilities in the space domain. Colin Dohan, CEO of Gravitics, had this to say about the project. We're honored to partner with the US Space Force on this critical initiative. The orbital carrier is a game changer, acting as a pre-positioned launch pad in space. It bypasses traditional launch constraints, enabling space vehicle operators to rapidly select and deploy orbit on demand." Unquote. This funding equips Gravitics with resources and backing to bring the orbital carrier to life, paving the way for its deployment by the Space Force. And now we move on to our final story of the week. Rocket Lab's Neutron gains certification for national security payloads. Rocket Lab, the second most prolific rocket launching company in the United States, has achieved a big milestone: certification from the US Department of Defense to carry its most valuable and critical payloads. This approval marks a pivotal moment for the company, which has already completed over 60 missions with its Electron rocket. However, the certification doesn't apply to this workhorse rocket, but rather to the upcoming medium-lift vehicle Neutron. Set to take flight in the second half of 2025, Neutron boasts a 13-ton capacity to orbit, enough for nearly all payloads. Some large reconnaissance satellites in the past exceeded 15 tons, so could not be launched by Neutron. However, the DoD is moving to smaller satellites and making use of constellations, something Neutron is optimized for launching, as they make clear in their marketing materials and website. With this certification, Rocket Lab can now bid for contracts under the National Security Space Launch Phase 3 Lane 1 program. This 5-year initiative, running until June 2029, has a maximum value of $5.6 billion and aims to award at least 30 missions. With Rocket Lab being one of the most frequent and reliable launchers in the country, it's not surprising the US DoD would want to launch their payloads on this platform. The company joins 4 other US launch providers eligible for National Security Space Launch Lane 1 contracts. As part of its entry into the program, Rocket Lab has secured $5 million task order to demonstrate its ability to deliver tailored mission assurance. Sir Peter Beck, Rocket Lab's founder and CEO, said about this award. Supporting assured access to space for the nation's most important missions has always been the goal with our Neutron rocket, and we're incredibly proud to be selected by the US Space Force to demonstrate this commitment for the NSSL. Neutron is a powerful new launch option that will set a new standard for performance, affordability, and reliability in medium launch, and its selection to the program demonstrates a high degree of confidence by the Department of Defense in Neutron's capabilities ahead of its first launch later this year. We can't wait to showcase Neutron as the important platform it will become for the Department of Defense." Unquote. Rocket Lab will be launching the Neutron vehicle from Wallops Island, Virginia, from the Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport. We'll keep you informed on their progress towards the first flight of this new vehicle later in the year. It should also be noted that Stoke Space has also earned certification alongside Rocket Lab, broadening the pool of providers for these national security missions. The DoD is keen to involve more American space startups in the future. Could Relativity Space with its Terran R vehicle be next in line? We'll just have to wait and see. Exciting times in the US launch sector. Okay, that's a wrap. Thanks for watching. A quick note. In the coming weeks, I'll be launching a live stream to recap the videos I posted, answer your questions, respond to comments and chat messages, cover any missed news, and preview upcoming content. I'd love for you to join if you can. Stay tuned for details. Be sure to like and subscribe so you'll see our upcoming videos. We make videos every week covering the space industry with an emphasis on the smaller space startups that aren't covered so well on other channels. See you soon.